Hi, everybody. Will here with this week's interview chair. This week we have none other than Judith, better known as Judy Taylor. Sit back and enjoy Judy for the next hour or so. Hi, everybody. Will here with this week's interview chair. This week on the chair, we have Judith Taylor, better known as Judy Taylor, and all breed handler, all breed judge, golden retriever extraordinaire breeder. The list goes on and on. She shares that title with her sister Jennifer. I was hoping to have Jennifer here as well, but that just didn't work out. I thought we'd have a fun time if I had the three of us on the same screen. But Judy, I'm sure, is going to fill the void. She'll look after it all for us. How are you, Jude?
I'm good. Really good. Yep.
It's good to see you. How's COVID been treating you?
It's been a survival, hasn't it? I don't think you really appreciate what you've gone through until you start getting out and meeting people again. And, you just, at first it was kind of comforting to know you didn't have to meet people and see people. Yeah. I'm lucky. I've got a beautiful home that I live in and I enjoy my dogs and, big screen TV, whatever. But now that it's getting over, I'm really glad for the communication with people and seeing people again. Yeah.
Well, I've stopped by and seen you a couple of times, but much as I should. And you just get your knee replaced?
Yes, in March.
Playing tennis already?
Yes.
That's
I still can't move like I want to, but at least I'm out there playing.
None of us can, Jude. It's like,
no,
I want to move like Jagger. I can't move like Jagger. Oh, well. All right, let's get started. Can you tell me how old you were and how you got started in the sport of dogs, please?
Well, that's an interesting story because Jennifer and I were always absolutely enthralled with animals, any kind of animal, dogs especially, of course. So we always had these pets that we found and whatever. But during our time when we were about, I would say 13, we had this dog called Laddie. Now, we thought he was a collie, and he was mostly, but we used to train him, and he was really, really obedient. So we ended up going to this pet show. I think it must have been near Hamilton because the overall big winner of the day was an 8-week course at the Hamilton Dog Obedience Club. So we won it. So we went ahead and did the obedience classes. And then we went ahead and entered him at the Oakville and District Obedience Trial. Well, we didn't have registration papers on him. We just kind of made them up.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And what is it when you just add, I've forgotten now the word you use when you're just paying the fee and the non-registration.
Fee. The listing fee?
The listing fee, yeah. So the funny thing is that day we won high in trial.
Oh, wow. Unregistered dog.
But eventually they caught us out and we had to return everything.
Oh. Now you both did this together with the one?
Yeah. And that was the beginning of our real interest in dogs and dog shows. And it wasn't long before we started going to the dog shows and, doing well. And we both had a knack for showing dogs. So
did you start off with collies? Is that what you did?
Yep. I eventually got myself a purebred collie. Had one litter, that's all. And I guess that was in 1963. And I bred to a Canadian American champion Royal and Mr. Chips. He had one litter. And unfortunately, at that time, I lived in a house that I bought. I was 17 at the time, by the way.
The house that you bought at 17. That's an achievement in itself.
And there was a guy coming up to read the meter or whatever, and it was a really long driveway, probably a quarter of a mile. And I was watching out the window, and he ran over my dog. Yeah.
Oh my God.
My collie was dead.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
I know. But it was after that we got our first golden, George Mellenbacher, Melback Golden Retrievers from Fisherville, Ontario.
Yeah, I remember George.
And that's where we got our first dog. And we started from there.
So did you both start from George then?
I did.
Like, did you guys breed together and then eventually?
Yes. I had the Christhafen prefix, which is the name she has now.
Right.
So we both had that. And then, then we got into what we liked was the English style. And I remember going to a dog show east of Toronto, Belleville way. Mm-hmm. And there was this dog there that was shown by a Jennifer Johnson. He was going to school in Belleville. She lived in Bermuda, and she had this English dog. And that was the first time I saw an English-style golden that I absolutely loved. So from there, we started importing and getting our own dogs. And, how many... God, what year was it? Jennifer Johnson did the Quebec Regional Specialty. And it was the first time I'd seen her since then.
Wow.
And so I entered a fair bit. And I turned around, I got the breed, best of winners with a bitch, and best puppy with a bitch puppy. And she had no idea who I was, or, it all came around in a big story. I guess it would have been maybe...
What's Jennifer Johnson's prefix?
I can't remember now.
You're remembering everything else.
I know. She might have been from Bermuda, but originally from England. Okay. So I'm not sure if she moved back to England or not. But she was a big influence on me and the breed. And she did say when she gave me the breed and whatever, I think it was like 2007 that she judged.
Oh, wow. So that long.
It was that long ago. Wow. Yeah.
Holy.
A long time.
You've had some.
She never would have known who I was.
That.
Yeah. Anyway, with Gulliver, my Australian import, she gave me that specialty, and best of winners and best puppy, and said these 3 dogs could win any time in England. That was a real compliment.
For sure. Yeah, but you had memorable dogs, notable dogs before that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I want to know them all, Jude.
Oh yeah.
I want to go back to when you saw Jennifer Johnson. Then what happened you were a professional handler, and now you're a judge. I want to know all that. That's why we're here.
That's a lot. I can remember when Jennifer got married. I gave her a little bitch, and she was a bitch that ended up producing 3 or 4 all-breed best in show winners.
Wow.
And she was quite smaller herself. Skylon Lydia was the name. But bred to the right dog, I think she bred to she bred the Sky. That was the first dog that did a lot of winning that Brian and I had bred.
Sir Lancelot, yeah.
Now, Brian, of course, I got married to Brian Taylor in 1969.
How did you two meet?
At a dog show. Yeah. When I think back now, of course, the money problems and the responsibilities I had at 17, 18, 19 were tremendous for a person of my age.
Yeah.
So he offered me a sort of a better life as far as financial security and that kind of thing. And we had such a mutual interest in dogs and handling dogs that it was just a natural way to go,
Did you work for any handlers?
No,
never
really. Did.
No.
Nope.
George didn't have any influence on you showing dogs?
Well, a lot of people had influence over me, but we both Jennifer and I kind of picked it up ourselves just because we were naturally good with dogs and animals,
Sure.
So I can remember with Brian and I when we were a team, I'd get the new ones to train and to bring around, and then he would take them when after I trained them, so that he did.
We all do that to you.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's.
But you guys had quite a prolific career, the two of you.
Oh yeah. It wasn't easy. I can remember winning a group, and it was towards the end of the careers of the Golden Champion Skyline Lancelot.
Yeah.
And Brian had Finn McCool, Irish setter.
Yeah.
And I think it was Bob Rankin. Is that his name, from out west?
Yeah.
And he judged and gave me the group and Brian second.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he was furious. Just furious. I'm like, just as well if anybody could have beaten him. He was that mad. And I thought, yeah, that's him, all right. Mm. And yet he and I both bred Skyline Lancelot. Sky, we called him.
Yeah.
And the owners were best friends of ours.
I remember Sky was the first dog I remember you with, really.
Oh, do you? Yeah. He was a good show dog. Really good show
I think
dog.
you won the group of the shows with him, didn't you?
I think so. I can't remember.
I think I remember seeing you in the group of the shows with them.
Yeah, I did do a lot of nice winning with him. In the 70s, between Jennifer and I, we had the first, second, and third top Goldens in Canada for that whole decade.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long were you two married? I forget now.
11 years.
11 years. And a lot of dogs went through there, because as far as Irish setters go, I remember it went from Finney to Patrick to Michael. I can't remember after Michael. I think that was that near the end, Michael?
Yes, I think it was. Yeah.
Berkshire Boys Baron of Redcoat.
Yeah, we did. I showed the bearded collie Hamish.
Yeah, were you the first best in show bearded collie?
First best in show in Canada with a bearded collie.
Yeah,
that was under Ed Dixon.
Wait, what year was that? Do you remember?
No, I don't. Late 60s, maybe. No, it would have been 70s.
It would have been 70s.
Would have been 70s for sure, because
I remember the name Hamish. Late 60s, I would have only been 4 or 5. I wouldn't remember the name.
No, it was in the 70s. And strangely enough, the trophy was English Dalton, the fisherman. Do you remember? Okay. It's like there's the bubble lady and the fisherman. Yeah. And it was donated by Pat with the Whippets from down there.
Pat Miller.
Yep. And the owners never wanted it. Oh no, you can keep that.
So you still have it?
Yes, I still have it. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Of all the trophies you win,
Oh, for sure. And you showed it. You did really well with Basset Hounds too for Rosemary.
Yeah.
I remember all these things. So.
You do. You're really good, Will. Wait until you get old.
What was that bitch you showed for Rosemary? You did a lot of winning with.
Airs and Graces. Called it Gracie.
Gracie.
Yeah. She was, I don't think she really thought she was a Basset. I think she thought she was the standard poodle.
No, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she thought she was just something. She was the only Basset that I can think of that I never had to hold her tail. She held her own tail.
Wow.
So proud. Yeah.
That's hard for that breed.
Yeah.
And you had a fire, too. What year was your fire?
Well, Brian and I were still together, and it was in Wainfleet. So it probably was the early 70s. We were on the cherry blossom circuit at the time.
Yeah. I vaguely remember it. I only what you told me
and
about
it was the whole, it was a barn that we had converted, and it, we lost, I think 2 dogs at that time. Strangely enough, the people that were there looking after the place didn't just open up the runs because they didn't want to let the dogs loose. And of course, that's the first thing you do is give them an opening to get away from the fire.
Yeah.
So
well, that's a shame. I don't know if I was old enough to be aware of it. I just remember hearing about it. So later on. So.
Well, if you were friends with Elaine Whitney, you would have heard about it for sure. Elaine knew everything about anything.
I should call her then. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what year was it.
I don't remember. It was in the 70s.
Yeah. So, well, in the 70s, I was in 75. I was only 10. So.
So you just didn't know then.
No, I didn't.
Those were the good days.
Yeah. So when did you retire from handling? What year?
I think it was 97. 98. Yeah. 38 years I was a handler. And Will, that year that I retired, the year before, I won Rottweiler specialty with a really nice Rottie.
You did really well with Rottweilers.
Yeah. And I won a Great Dane specialty I think it was a Great Dane specialty and a Basset.
Well, I always told you were the best Great Dane handler I'd ever seen. You would piece those dogs together. I'd see them standing at ringside, and then all of a sudden you'd walk the ring, and then there'd be this statue.
Well, there's some dogs that didn't want to go in first with because it took me about 5 minutes to get them all together.
But you were good at it. Oh, my God.
Anyway, that year when I did that winning, I questioned myself, not that it was an opportunity that was etched in stone, but I thought to myself, now, if these people offered me this dog to show next year to campaign, would I continue handling? And I said, no, I was ready to stop.
You're ready?
Yep. And I never regretted it. Never regretted it.
You moved right into judging, though, pretty well, right?
Pretty well. You may not know this, but right after I started field training.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I did that for about 10 years.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
For 11 years, 12 years. It was great fun, a lot of work, and very expensive. But I did manage to get some working titles on my cup, like Gulliver, my Australian import, and his granddaughter. So It was fun.
I'm sure. Yeah, I've never done that. Maybe that's an avenue I should take at some point. I'm still having fun though.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you before we get into the judging part of it, what mentors did you have up to that point? You have breeding mentors, handling mentors, anybody?
Yeah, I couldn't go on without saying that John McNichol, who had Goldens. That's where I got my kennel name from. And that's when Jennifer and I kind of split and did our own thing, because when he retired from breeding, that's when he split up with his wife, actually. I had the opportunity of buying him out, and I bought 3 or 4 dogs from him. And the kennel name, Skylon.
Oh, I see. I was not aware of that. I knew John very well. Huh.
Yeah.
What year would that have been?
I don't know.
Because he was still showing dogs after you took over Skylon.
Yes, he was. And but he wasn't breeding Goldens anymore.
Okay.
I could have looked it up before I should have looked it up.
He was a good handler, John McNichol. I felt,
He was. He was
quiet.
He was a real gentleman.
He sure was.
Well, I remember being in a group ring once, and Bill Kendricks was judging, and we were going around the ring. It was a berry, so it was hot and dry. Well, didn't I trip over a guide wire from the tent?
Oh, jeez.
Flat on my face. Well, John McNichol stopped to help me up. Oh, Billy Kendricks was so mad. He said, get up, get up, get up. I don't remember who won, but I'll never forget that time. He stopped because he was a gentleman.
No, there's no question he was.
Yeah.
He was. So when I showed Impresario, I showed to him quite a bit that year, and he never, ever did anything for him. And which always upset me because he was an Irish setter person in my mind because he showed a lot of Irish.
Yeah.
But at the end of the year, after he was number 1 dog I'll breed, he pulled me aside and we went. Do you remember at Kawartha where they used to have those little tents for the judges? Each judge had their own little tent. The show was over. He took me in there. He opened a bottle of champagne and he toasted to me. And we sat there and drank champagne, him and I.
Really?
Yep. So I know I
He
never
never
did
said-
much for. What's that?
He never said why he didn't put him up.
It was just wasn't his type. He said so.
Oh,
There was another dog out that year. It was quite a nice dog too. Santera.
Bachelor Boy.
No, no, that beef was way after Bachelor Boy.
Oh, good.
It was a Santera dog that Chuck
Yes,
McCallum
Bachelor Boy
showed.
competed against Brian, didn't he?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was quite a nice dog. It was a Santera bred dog, and he was quite a nice dog. And he would, we would hit head to head once in a while. And John always preferred that dog to my dog, which is fine. It's like,
Yep. Yep.
But I was just thrilled when he celebrated with me, even though he wasn't.
Yeah. No, he was a good guy.
Yeah.
And then another mentor that I actually wrote down as in your judging application was Archie Warnock.
Oh, yes.
I really valued him because I knew he was a really honest person, and I really respected that. And of course, another golden breeder. So he was always down as my mentor.
Yeah. Did he show dogs professionally as well, Arch?
Yeah. His big deal, he worked for, was it Maple Leaf Dog Foods?
Oh, was he? Okay.
So he and John McNichol and Tommy Joel
Oh, wow.
hung around together. Yeah. Got drunk at the shows
Can you
together.
imagine? No, Arch is a great guy.
Oh, he was.
I haven't seen him for a
He
few
is.
years.
I just got a phone call about a week ago from Barb,
Oh, really? Oh, good.
his wife. Yeah. And of course, as soon as you see who's phoning, your heart kind of sinks.
Yeah, right.
Especially at our age, right? My age. Anyway, it was her asking about Jennifer. And Archie's still doing well.
Oh, excellent.
He's got Alzheimer's, but he lives at home with her. And she said he'll never go into a home. He's still got a sense of humor. Barbara will ask him in the morning, "How you doing, Arch?" "Oh, I'm good. I still woke up this morning, so I guess life is still good." So what can you say?
He was such a character. Oh my God.
Yeah, he really, really is. Yeah, and was.
Yeah. Oh, he'd whisper under his breath to you in the ring, and he was so funny.
And of course, the other person I should mention, you probably never knew him, was Jake Giacomelli.
No, I did not.
Yeah, he was a top obedience trainer from Hamilton.
Okay.
And under Jake, you've got Brian Blinky, John Ward, and Vera, forgotten her last name. Anyway, a group of judges that were considered top obedience judges. And they were all protege of Jake's. And of course, I did do the obedience training.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much.
Quite a few dogs.
Yeah, I didn't realize how involved you were in obedience. That's good.
But initially, yes. When I went into the field, I knew I didn't want to do obedience because it had gotten so competitive, and your dog had to be like little machines.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't interested in training the dog that way. So.
And now was that more for the breeding mentors that you spoke with those three? Or they were breeders?
Yes.
Did you have any handling mentors? Like I know you used to speak highly of Shirley and
Shirley who?
Boer.
Highly? Or
No, you spoke of her.
oh, she was funny. But she wasn't very nice with her dogs.
I remember having dinner with all you guys once. I was very young and you were still with Brian and Shirley was there with Ben and then I forget who it was. The table was full. I'm sure Gary was there. There was a bunch of us there.
Yeah.
Shirley kept making a mess of herself while she was eating, and you kept telling her to wipe her chin or something. I forget.
Oh, I would. I can remember we were traveling up to the Sioux in a motorhome. I forget whose motorhome it was, and Eve Whitmore was there, and Shirley. I was the one that was sort of tried to keep people happy. Anyway, she said, "Judy, will you get me a gin and tonic?" This is probably after the second or third one. And I said, looked at her and I said, Shirley, get up off your ass and get it yourself. And that was it. I just had enough, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I don't see that. You know what dog I forgot to bring up was Long John Silver.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You were the first one to show Long John, weren't you, as a professional handler? Didn't you show him before Martha? Oh, I thought you showed him before Martha.
I helped Martha out, but as far as I can recall, I only showed him when Martha couldn't.
Oh, okay. And he was, those of you who don't know, Long John Silver was a Lancier. Newfie was top dog all breed in the country back in 76 or something like that. I can't remember.
Was that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had Pied Piper out west, which was a lovely dog too.
Yeah, we had strong depth Newfies for a while. We sure did.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you take him to Bermuda? Is that what I'm thinking?
Maybe that's when yes, I did. I did show him in Bermuda. So maybe that's when I was sort of the handler, so to speak.
Yeah.
But no, he was a good dog. And I also showed Shadrach. You probably don't know that.
Oh, did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
no. Wow.
Yeah.
Shadrach
I think I was the only other person other than Shirley to show Mephisto Shadrach. Is that that?
Sure. Not Mephisto.
No, that's
Sherlock Shadrach. Sure. I can't. Shirkan Shadrach. Shadrach?
Yeah, not Mephisto. That's out west.
Yeah, he was top dog all breed 2 years in a row. This is a boxer that
I can't believe you have all this knowledge in your head.
I just remember
he was a beautiful dog.
The dog you're thinking of was probably Mephisto, Soldier of Fortune,
which was his son, right?
I don't know if he was a son, but he was the dog out west that Larry Ingalls showed that Walter and Michelle bred. So,
didn't he come down here to?
Oh, sure he did, because he was top dog all breed as well. Yeah, he was number one. As well. So.
Do you remember his color?
I think he was a brindle. I think
because
Shadrach was.
I'm thinking of Meshach.
Okay.
Soldier of Fortune wasn't it Sire of Shadrach?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
He
and
was like
Meshach
1970. What year was Soldier of Fortune?
Yeah, I think he was a sire. And then Meshach was a dark brindle. He was the son of Shadrach.
I'm pretty sure Soldier of Fortune was a brindle as well, but I'm not for sure.
I think he was.
I was a kid.
Not a dark brindle. Yeah. Interesting. As far as handlers go, Susan Hillman.
Oh yeah, no
question. For sure.
Yeah.
Pat Tripp. I still remember Pat Tripp.
See, I never got to see her show dogs. I have met her plenty of times. I never got to see her show dogs. So.
Yeah, I did, and she always wore the same outfit.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, turquoise dress. I always remember that.
Yeah. Well, I was just speaking about her because George Alston's doing an article about handlers that influenced other handlers' trims and whatnot, and he asked me about Pat Tripp because he knew that Susan and Timmy both worked for Pat, and from Susan and Timmy became like Taffy and Allison. Like it's like a generational thing. It was.
Of course it is.
Yeah,
of course it is. Yeah, it is. So I was lucky to know all those people, Tim, and I'm trying to think what handlers around here. You had quite a few owner handlers too.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was lucky because I got to show Dalgarth. Do you remember Keepmaker's Dalgarth? Yeah. I finished him in Canada as a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was.
Some say he was better than Mustache. He just. Didn't.
I thought so too. I thought he was typier. Yeah. Mustache had the, maybe more coat and
he
whatever.
Was glamorous. Mustache was so glamorous. We're talking about Dr. Mean and Dr. Newsom and Borzoi's Kishniga, Dalgarth, and Kishniga. What was Desert Song.
That's right, Desert Song.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I forgot that you showed Dalgarth, but I did know that. So.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I remember watching you. I can still remember you showing the Irish setter bitch Bridget. You remember her?
No.
She was in between some dog that Brian had, and I don't think she'd show for Bri, so you showed her. She had big long ears. I can't remember her real name.
I don't remember. Yeah.
You and Brian were the first handlers my parents hired. You guys should have never set her for us.
Really?
Yeah, dog named Carrie. So I remember when we got the ribbons back, the back of her ribbons, they all said Carrot. And I asked, why is it saying? And you told me it was her nickname was Carrot. So I was about 11.
Oh, dear. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, Unfortunately, when Brian and I split up, it was a tremendous amount of work on my part to do it all yourself, all on your own. And I did do it for a long time.
You did.
Whereas Brian, I think that was the end of him for,
Well, he killed the Scarly bitch, and I think that was...
That was about it, wasn't it? Yeah. He wasn't used to the work. Well, just not used to it.
I better interview him now, too.
Haven't you done him?
No, not yet. No, we've spoken about it. So.
Might be too late.
So then you got into judging. Tell me how that process went for you. What made you decide you wanted to be a judge?
Well, to be perfectly honest, which I am always,
you are.
I thought being a judge was a thankless job.
Mm-hmm.
You only keep one person happy all day pretty well. And so it really wasn't a very gratifying job. But I was arrogant enough to believe that the quality of judging was so poor that they needed some good judges. I mean, you and I both know who are good judges and who aren't. And I honestly felt that I owed the sport that much.
It's true.
And I took it on that way. And I'm surprised at how pleased and happy I am judging. Yeah. I really, really enjoy it.
Because that's interesting, not to interrupt you. I was at Westminster this year, and Taffy and I were talking just about that. We were talking about the level of judging, wish they were better. And I said, Taffy, it's our fault. We should be the ones judging right now. It's our fault. It's our turn.
Mm-hmm.
But she agreed. So
yeah. And there's a lot of good dog people that aren't judging that should be, that are, closer to my age or whatever. On the other hand, there's an awful lot of people that, how do they ever think they're anything to be in that ring pointing fingers? Because it's a serious job. I take it really serious.
For sure. You're judging somebody else's breeding stock. It is.
And quite, as well as anybody who knows me, that yes, it's easier if a professional handler has the dog to put it up. But that's not what judging is all about. And I know how good professional handlers are because I used to be one. So I tend to judge a lot of the dogs on the move rather than standing still, because any good handler can get a good picture out of a dog.
Yeah.
We just talked about that with the Great Dane.
Yeah. We all have toolboxes.
Yeah. And I quite honestly don't care who's showing it,
And you're right, because it is nice when you see it doesn't even need to be a professional handler, because there's some amazing owner handlers out there as well. That it is easier to judge a really good dog that's being presented properly. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of work to find a dog that isn't so good.
Oh, I judged the sweepstakes last year, 2 years ago now. And I won't say what breed it was, but it was a mess. I was setting dogs up myself trying to figure out what to do.
I know. I can remember I was doing, what are they called? They're French Spaniels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they look like red and whites, except they've got dark.
They're darker, yeah.
Yeah. And it was a specialty. And I put up this winner's bitch that was handled atrociously. Found out she had won the day before, and they put on a complete novice with her to try and just keep the points in, but want her to win. And I thought, no, it doesn't work with me. I always say good dogs need good judges, and bad dogs, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I remember I watched you judge since you started, and I've always been. I find that no good dog gets by you. Doesn't matter how it's shown. I remember watching you in the States one time, and you were doing Shelties, and everybody around was like, "Oh, look what she's done! She found them all. Didn't matter who had them." So hats off.
Well, that's nice to hear. It's really nice to hear.
And shepherds, I think you're an amazing shepherd judge. I really do. So.
Well, I know what I like in shepherd. Actually, I know what I like in a lot of the breeds. I think because I've shown so many of the different breeds.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on that. You showed a lot of shepherds too.
Oh, showed a lot of shepherds. Yeah. A top herding dog, I think she was 1 year. Showed a lot of course, Rottweilers. I think I considered myself number one Rottweiler handler in Canada. God, that was a real. I love the breed.
You did. What was that big dog's name you had? He was a big dog.
Yeah, Jack.
Jack. Yeah.
That was his call name. Yeah. Arco von Ilko, I think.
Yeah, he did really well. He was a big dog.
Yeah, he was the last dog. He was top working dog and second top dog all breeds, I think. Yeah. And he was a lovely dog. But the biggest challenge with him, he'd been shown in the States with an American handler. He was like 6'5", and down there they'd spar him like terriers. So you get this huge Rottweiler that wants to spar at everything, and anything comes within his distance, he'll go.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest challenge, getting him up to ringside and not letting anybody. I know.
It's very He's very anxious. It is like I had that experience this week.
It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. I can remember I got John Glover to hold him at ringside because I was busy in another ring.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the interview you had with John, but he just loved hanging on to this dog. He would have loved to have shown him, I know. Yeah. But because he made him feel like he was a
It's like driving a big truck, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. We went right over those dogs. Your shepherd and your Rottweiler. We're missing some things. I don't want to miss these.
Yeah. Well, I always watched Jimmy Moses. I've known Jimmy for a long time, and I always admired how he showed shepherds.
Oh, there's no question. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always made up my mind when I had this really nice bitch that I campaigned. I really wanted to show her as easily as he showed his shepherds. Mm-hmm. So I often never had to stack her.
What was her name? I can see her.
Kennelwood's Golden Child.
Yeah, who was that? Was that Alex? Is that who owned that?
No, that was Alan Wood and Leslie Wood.
Yeah. Of course, I remember.
But I did show the German dogs of Alex. Yeah, McCrory's, and excuse me, they were good. They were fine with me. But I remember the one dog I finished. He was their Sisson 3 dog, and I guess Alex had him out in the field and was training them or doing whatever. And, when you're training the Sisson dogs, I guess there's an area on their flank that they don't like to be touched because that's where they would be teased. And this shepherd went and grabbed Alex by his thumb and wouldn't let go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he came back to the kennel with his dog stuck to his thumb. I think he had him put down.
Jeez. Now, you and Jennifer being twins and showing dogs the same area and a lot of the same breeds, did that ever become a conflict? Did you ever confuse judges?
Well, are you just egging me on? You just want me to tell this horrible story?
Which one?
It meant that Jennifer and I, of course, we often didn't speak for months at a time. Very competitive.
Yes.
But at this particular show, I went best to show. He was a nice dog. He had his, he got his working certificate and I think utility degree as well as.
What dog was it?
Dakota, Skylon Dakota.
Oh, okay, yes, I remember that now.
Yeah, a great show dog. Jennifer was showing another golden for Saddleback, Leah and Bill Walls.
Yeah. That's names bring names.
Yeah, and I went best in show. Peter Smith was the judge.
I remember now.
Yeah, you're just egging me on. The next day we had the breed. And of course, these two dogs looked no more alike than
alike.
yeah. And this judge says to Jennifer, because he got us mixed up, I guess maybe then she and I looked a lot alike, being twins. And he said, oh, he looks just as good as he did last night. Jennifer said, yep. That's not funny. I still don't like it. I didn't speak to her for 4 months, 5 months. I don't know.
Sorry, it's a story we all sort of know.
Yeah, well, I remember very well.
I'm sure you do.
I was so angry.
See, wouldn't it be better if she was beside me now? We were talking about it.
I know. And people would say, I can't believe those two looked alike.
And you guys probably wouldn't talk again for 4 months after.
That's right. That's right. I think we're in a non-speaking zone now because I got mad that she wouldn't do this.
No.
Yes. Because I had already lined up that we'd wear the same top and everything.
Oh, it would have been so much fun, I think. But,
I think it would have been a lot of fun.
oh, well.
She's nervous about it, I think.
Yeah, no, we'll keep nagging her. I'll get her. So where you're judging now? You started in the sporting dogs, obviously. Who would have been your judging mentors? Is there anybody that you went to that spoke? You had to have a mentor, obviously. I think.
Well, that was Archie.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of judges I liked.
Yeah.
More that I didn't like. But it's interesting going on a panel. You go to a dog show and there's a panel of judges, and it's so interesting to talk and learn from different people.
Mm-hmm.
You do get to a point, and I already knew a lot of them, that I try and learn and talk to them from a different angle other than dogs, because I don't think I respect them that much as far as their pointing in dogs. It's just Peru.
Yeah.
I can remember going to Quebec City and the guy with the chows.
Mr. Odenkirchen?
Odenkirchen, Paul.
Yeah.
He was on the panel. And, I can remember ring stewarding for Paul. And terriers, I think it was terriers that, boy, to me, bang on, bang on, bang on. Working dogs, if there were two dogs in the ring, one was right and one was wrong, they put the wrong on, in my opinion. Yeah. Anyway, I did Springers. It was a supported entry, maybe a special the day before or something. And I ended up putting up this Springer bitch, winner's bitch. And he asked me later, he said, why did you put that bitch up? Didn't you see she had quite a close, not a very nice rear end? And I said, Paul, other than that, there was a lot of nice things about her. And she had beautiful side gait, beautiful head type. So she had something that we didn't like, but I could still find her. Anyway, that next day, the afternoon, we had the whole afternoon off. And we spent the afternoon sightseeing Quebec City. What a great afternoon. Didn't talk dogs or anything, didn't need to, other than his chows. I learned a lot about his chows. And what a tremendous influence in the breed he's had with chows. So that was a good learning experience for me again.
Yeah, it's true. With Mr. O's chows, Mr. and Mrs. O's chows, you can pick them out of the crowd. So
yeah, and I think that's what you have to do as a judge. You can learn a lot from going to different shows, and you figure out what judge you can pick their brains on. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing what you can learn. To me, it's amazing. Yeah. I already talked to you about Daryl Heck and what I learned about terriers and whatever from her. And it could go on and on. So I think the best fun I have at dog shows when I'm judging is actually getting together with the judges later on. And I have to be honest. There are some judges that, oh no, I'll just eat in my room, thank you. I'm not going to waste my time spending with them. I'm bad, I know, but I don't care.
That's why I wanted you to do this. over the years, you've seen so many dogs, and you've judged so many dogs. You've shown some beautiful dogs. Are there dogs that you haven't, that you didn't show or didn't judge that you would have loved to have judged or had been a part of even? Like what dogs in your mind?
That I did, because I don't feel a lot of envy or jealousy. There's a lot of dogs I really respected.
Well, that even those dogs, I don't want you to be jealous of them. I just want to know that these dogs, when I saw certain dogs, they stamped in my head. I remember seeing, like, say, Robert the Springer. I've got him stamped in my head now. And those type of dogs.
There were a tremendous number of dogs that I really, really liked. Mm-hmm. That I never got to show or anything. I can remember going to Crufts way back. I think this was the first time I had ever gone to Crufts. And I saw a little Yorkshire Terrier called Royal Seal. You and Beston show. That dog is embedded in my mind. And I thought, what a beautiful, beautiful dog. And then as a judge, one of the nicest dogs I've ever judged, and I had the privilege of judging, was Ty, the giant schnauzer.
Yeah.
This was before he did all the winning. He was just a group dog, and I wasn't even licensed for 3. I was licensed for schnauzers, so I had so I could do all 3 sizes. Mm-hmm. So I had this dog in my breed ring, and I just fell in love with him. And then, of course, later he did all kinds of top winning.
Became number 1 dog in the country. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another dog that really, really I was impressed with was a wire fox terrier, Spot On.
Sunnybrook Spot On.
Yeah. Really, really like that dog. Yeah. Now, I can remember being in Arizona, showing at a Ridgeback specialty. That's another thing. I showed Ridgeback.
Yeah, see, we forgot about all your Ridgebacks.
Yeah. And I was watching the terrier group, and I've never been somebody, this was before I was a judge, I was still handling, but I've never been a judge or a handler that followed magazines and who was winning top dogs and all that. I didn't need to, quite honestly. And this is proof in the pudding, because I was watching the terrier group and I'm looking at all the dogs, and I just loved that wire fox. It was something, Dovetail.
Oh, Lonesome Dove.
Yeah. Yes, Lonesome Dove. Yeah. And I thought that was proof to me that I could find them whether or not I knew that they were the top winners or not, So it kind of gave me a little more confidence.
You've never come off without having confidence, I don't think.
No, but you still need... what's the word for it? You still need
affirmation.
Yes. Patting on the back, saying, yes, you're right. Do you remember being at the show in Syracuse? Hurting.
Yeah.
You up to you and said, "Oh, Will, Judy's a good friend of yours, isn't she?" I heard about this later. And you said, "Oh yeah, we're good friends." Well, do you think you could maybe mention to her that the Tri dog in there?
Never.
We're winner's dog at the American National? Oh, no, Will. You said, no. She'll find him. He's good.
Yeah.
Well, strangely enough, I found out later, of course, that this dog had gone, the previous 2 shows, had gone fourth out of 4 in the bred by class. Because he did look a lot different. He was a Tri. The others were blue, sable. So, it was understandable. He was going to go first or fourth. With me, there was no question. He was first. But I only gave him winner's dog. I didn't go further. I ended up putting up a class bitch and a blue Merrill special for best of opposite. So I was getting the picture taken later on. What do you think? And he said, what can I say? You judged exactly like a breeder judge. So that was a nice compliment because
for sure.
Actually, it was a compliment about you, wasn't it? That you knew not to say anything to me. That would be That was the same show that a shepherd went. I put a shepherd up from the class. No, he was a move up Canadian dog. Emily had him.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of shepherds there. But, you already said that I know what I like in a shepherd. So I gave him the breed. Well, it turns out that he went best in show under, oh God, who's the judge? She's now gone, female, showed Irish setter.
Michelle Billings.
Yes, that was her first breed. I didn't know that.
Yep.
And she came up to me in the middle of judging the next day and said, you put up that shepherd yesterday, didn't you? And I said, yeah, I did. And she, well, beautiful dog, beautiful. And she just gave him the group. The last day, gave him best in show. Just what a shepherd should look like.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, isn't that nice for her to say anything to me? And
she was a good shepherd judge for sure.
And I never did do the group. This was before I was doing groups or anything. So,
as a judge, what advice would you give? Say me, I want to be a judge now. What advice would you give me?
Be true to yourself. Learn as much as you can. I can remember years ago, Morley Thornton. Of course, I know you remember him. Brian and I were still together, so we were handling, and Morley was out probably having a cigarette. And he turned to us and he said, being a judge is just a thankless job. I've got a file yay big at home, full of hate mail.
Wow.
From exhibitors that were complaining. And I thought, oh my, I've never received anything like that. So that's not it's not anything to worry about. I think not to be arrogant. And in this day and age, it's so important to be nice to the newcomers.
Yeah. As
a handler, to this day, I go in the ring, and if the dog isn't shown properly, excuse me, I have to cough again. I help the person as much as I can without spending too much time.
Right.
And I say, gather the lead up in one hand and have it right under the chin, so you can, move the dog nicely. And it's just part of me. And I think I get a lot of people thanking me for taking the time, because it does take time, but it doesn't take time to be polite and to be courteous. And, I think this is really important. It's something we all have to remember as this sport is dwindling as much as it does. So,
yeah, we want, people don't want to feel like they're not accepted. So
that's right. And everybody's going to learn
for a while. So
I will tell somebody who's never been in the ring before. I said, well, you might want to go to handling classes, because this is not, it's sort of like going to a horse show or jumping classification, never been on the back of a horse before. You want to learn before you come into the ring. And there's, lots of places where you can go and learn. Just find out, or talk to me later and I'll give you recommendations. So.
No, I think that's great.
I think that's polite,
There's no question.
And people worry about what the judges say at the judges, afterwards in the lunchroom and all that. A lot of times you find out who they put up best in show or what they didn't do, or, whatever. Somebody who's true to themselves, they're still going to find what they like in the dog. Yeah.
Like I find, like if we were on the same panel and you came in and said, oh my, wait to see this golden, Will, I'm going to look at that golden. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to point at it. But Judy Taylor said she saw gold and she's like, I'm going to look at it. And it's just the way it is.
Yeah. But quite honestly, I try not to say stuff like that to other people, because I don't want them to do what I want them to do what they think is right.
Right. But sometimes you get excited. Like I've been in. Oh
yeah.
And someone's been really excited about a certain dog. It'd be a prominent judge was actually Dougie Holloway, and he was excited about a dog he'd found, and he wanted to share it with me. And then he asked me what I thought afterwards, and
yeah, oh, absolutely. And that's the fun part about you can learn stuff and talk dogs and until you're blue in the face, and it's still such a thrill to get your hands on a dog as they come in the ring, and you think, oh my God, what a beautiful dog, know. It's so true. I can remember, I won't mention names, but it was a non-sporting dog, and I gave it the group. And the judge, one of the judges the day before judged that same group. And I said, oh, just out of curiosity, what did you do for that dog? Oh, I didn't place him. You didn't. That told me something about, in my opinion, about that judge. And he says, oh, no, he's just the wrong shape for me. And I thought, oh, dear.
Yeah.
So
true.
unless this is the first time this handler had the dog out, to my knowledge, he hadn't done any kind of winning, but to me, he was a standout in the group. You know the dog.
I think so. What about advice for if say a young person came up to you and said they wanted to be a handler? What advice would you give them?
Really to find the best, what they consider one of the best handlers in the ring to apprentice under. Make sure that person is really genuinely good with the dogs and has integrity. And it's a man's world, but it's changing pretty fast. And make sure that you don't do any favors for the judge that has nothing, for the handler that has nothing to do with showing dogs.
Right.
So that's what I would say. And always try and get the education you need in case it didn't work out. And try and find a handler that knows good business sense as well, so that you can learn to manage your money when you're on your own.
That's one of the keys, because a lot of us just were not good at it.
No, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And to never, as a handler, don't undercut other handlers.
No,
I think that's a real no. Yeah,
we're supposed to all be on the same team, and
that's right.
It's bad for business, really.
And as a judge, I'm finding it very difficult to know what to charge.
Mm-hmm.
So I have actually personally approached judges who I think have a good reputation and are knowledgeable, and find out what their fees are. Mm-hmm. And that's how I've gauged my own fees.
Yeah, that makes sense. So.
Yeah, but it's not very popular with a lot of people, because this certain couple said, oh, well, when so-and-so and I go out to judge, a husband and wife, we only get so much money for both of us. I said, oh, well, that's fine. Guess you get paid what you're worth. I didn't say that.
Okay, one last question, Judy. If you were to meet the 20-year-old Judy Taylor, well, you weren't Judy Taylor at 20 years, were you? I can't remember. I don't know when you got married.
No, I was still Judy Peters.
Peters, okay. The 20-year-old Judy Peters, then. What advice would you give Judy now?
I don't have a lot of regrets. I don't regret marrying Brian, for instance. I have two wonderful daughters.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. And they're both made their mark in this sport as well, really.
Yes.
Like Bilby's Irish setters are worldwide famous Irish setters, and Sarah was amazing handler.
You just showed one this past weekend, I understand.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't even know it until after. And so unfortunately that daughter hasn't given me any grandchildren, but at least the other one has.
She's got lots of redheaded grandchildren.
yeah, thank you very much, Will, but no. I don't know what I would say. I think other than trying to find yourself a really good handler that you have a lot of respect for, and don't be, if they're not good with dogs or animals, don't go to them. Don't be a handler if you don't love the dogs, because it just won't work.
Right.
Choose another field.
Yeah. They're not a means to an end there,
And then
there.
The advice I'd give myself, enjoy life,
Yeah.
I worked hard, but that's all right.
Yeah.
And
I think you've enjoyed life.
Oh, I have. I really enjoyed showing dogs too.
Yeah.
But that's because I really love them.
Yeah. And you were good at it. So.
Yeah. I think when I finally decided to quit, it was because my sportsmanship was just so poor. I had so little respect for the judges, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
It tends to happen, because you grow up in I think you grew up in the sport in an era when we had some amazing judges.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes the next generation just aren't quite ready. And thanks for your time.
Fun.
I enjoy. I couldn't wait to do this. I knew we'd have fun. So.
Oh, good. I didn't know. I knew we'd have fun. Yeah.
Oh, seriously? Oh no, I knew we'd have fun, and I thought if I got the two of you together, it'd be so much fun. I might have to be in the center with the referee jersey on. I was going to wear one.
Yeah, you have to.
But it would have been
fun. A lot of fun. Yeah, I would have to be careful. Well, you would have had to be careful not to let one speak over the other one all the time.
Right.
So. It would have been a good contest.
Exactly. I think we would have handled it just fine. I know you both well enough. It would have been fine. All right, Jude.
Okay. Take care, Will.
Look forward to seeing you somewhere. And next time I stop by Gilby's, maybe I'll stick my head in the pylon and say hello.
Please come in.
Okay.
Okay. Right, love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jude. It was great to catch up. And as candid as you are, I know it was so much fun. I hope to see you soon at shows. Hope you enjoyed that, everybody. If you like what you see, make sure you press the like, share, and subscribe button. If you want to find out what's happening in Will's world, go to willalexander.net. If you want to send me a message, send it to dogshowtips@gmail.com. And don't forget about our podcast, Wayne Kavanaugh and myself, The Dog Show Drive, every Thursday. You can find it on Stitcher, Apple, and Spotify. Take care, guys.